The cystic fibrosis community is invited to participate in a series of videos and podcasts on individuals that are living, breathing, succeeding with cystic fibrosis. With the help of today's therapies, cystic fibrosis patients are now living longer and achieving more than ever before. This podcast, Overcoming Obstacles and Coming Out with CF, is made possible through an unrestricted educational grant from Novartis to the Esiason Foundation. Today you'll meet Eric Hyman, 36 years old, born and raised in Philadelphia, and has been living in San Diego, California for the past 5 years.
Hello, my name is Eric Hyman. I am 36 years old. I was diagnosed with cystic fibrosis at 1, and I am living in San Diego. Music has been a bit of a passion of mine since probably like 6 or 7. And then I would play off and on as an adult. I was in a band for 3 years in San Francisco, and that was a really fun time. I decided in college to pursue mechanical engineering. I chose to stay at home. So luckily Drexel was well respected for their engineering curriculum, and it was about 12 minutes from my house. I'm sure I missed out on some social experiences, but I think it was probably better for my health. Around 7 years old, I had this insane fever of like 106. And then a few weeks later, we realized it was tied into an intense exacerbation. So that was the first real hospital stay after when I was 2. And from that point until 11, I was going into the hospital 3 to 5 times a year. When I was 11 years old, so in 1988, I had a upper right lobe lobectomy, where they took my upper lobe out because that was the culprit that kept getting infected. So after that surgery, I was going in the hospital much less in the following years. It was a lot to go through as a kid. I give a lot of credit to my parents. They were very loving and supporting and did everything they could to keep me well. They got very involved in the CF Foundation after I was diagnosed. They were the top fundraisers for the local bowl-a-thons. And then my mother was also inspired to become a nurse. So she became very knowledgeable about CF and very involved in the whole scene of cystic fibrosis and research. I would say my biggest obstacle that I had to deal with during college was sophomore year. In the fall, my mother passed away. She had caught a staph infection and was in a coma for 5 days, and then she just passed pretty suddenly. I remember at the time when I was down, waking up throughout the night, coughing my head off, just like sitting up in bed thinking, what am I doing? You know, I'm probably gonna die anyway, why torture myself with engineering school? I started to lose the drive to fight my CF, and I was tempted to just kind of let myself wither away. So fighting for just my survival was not enough. I wasn't having that much fun to fight for my own life. So adopting the mindset of maybe I could do something really good with my life and feel some sort of sense of purpose, what gave me the drive to keep pushing forward. You know, when you can't undo anything, you just need to learn how to deal with it and move on. My symptoms have, you know, it's a progressive disease. They've gotten worse. I'm definitely coughing a lot more, producing more mucus. I'm culturing MRSA for the last 5 years. So that's unpleasant. But I can still handle day-to-day life relatively well. So as my disease progressed, I started working part-time to try to balance my health. I realized the stress of full-time work was making a noticeable impact on my health. I made a deal with myself to use my extra time to help my health, which includes exercising. I think I like swimming best. I just started running recently, which I wasn't actually able to do. And I can't run very far, but I've started, so I'll run a block, cough, catch my breath, walk a little bit, and then just repeat. Also, weightlifting and drumming is, you know, when you're playing hard rock drumming, that can be good exercise. I'm playing hard rock now on a regular basis, and it can really wear you out. You have to catch your breath at the end of a song. In 2000, I had a pretty massive hemoptysis episode, which is coughing up blood. Like a few days in a row, I was coughing up like over a cup. And then they did my first bronchial artery embolization. So since 2000, I've had 6 of those, which basically includes setting a catheter up your femoral artery and then blocking off some of the pulmonary arteries they suspect of causing a bleeding. I search through the CF forums occasionally. This guy was swearing by this thing called tranexamic acid, which his doctor prescribed to him to help with the bleeding, and apparently it helped him. So I mentioned it to my doctor. They were really hesitant at first. But at that point, when I went in the hospital a couple years ago and they didn't want to do any more embolizations, they tried it out on me, see how it went, and it's worked really well. I still have bleeds occasionally, but they're much more mild and much less often. You know, the lifespan's up to late 30s now, and there's some miraculous drugs in the pipeline right now that are coming out. So by the time kids today with CF are becoming adults or late teens, it's going to be a different ballgame. You know, you can expect to live a pretty long lifespan, so don't waste it. Have some goals, find your passion, and pursue it.